Band groupies that had sex with their idols, how did it affect the way you saw them afterwards? I had a friend that was singled out after a Prince concert by his security. They told her that Prince would like her company at his hotel. She grabs one of our other friends to go with her. Maybe as backup or maybe as a witness to the amazing things that are about to happen. Turns out when she gets to the room where all the security and crew are, Prince had no intention of hanging out with her, and then it became obvious that it was the security guard that liked her. She's super bummed. Best part about it was the friend she brought along ended up sleeping with a security guard. I knew a girl that slept with Pitbull probably 10 years ago. She said he never took his shades off, even when they had sex. I know of two different girls who duck Tiesto regularly. He would fly them out to Vegas and Miami on rotation. Guy was in his 40s, flying out 18 to 20-year-olds. They liked traveling and he would fly their friends out too, so they had company. One of them didn't really see him as an idol, more as a free vacation every so often. A girl I know banned Aaron Carter after a meet and greet. He is going through a tough time and I don't think they have met since, but I believe they still text sometimes. She still thinks he's great. It fulfilled her childhood dream to meet him and sleep with him. A friend's mom told me in the early 2000s she slept with the lead singer of a band she loved in the 80s when she was a teenager. She never specified the band, but she was big into hair metal, so it's gonna be someone like Rat or Poison. She said she was expecting a wild night, but what she got was an intensely passionate love-making session followed by hours of philosophical talk. Lead singer man spoke of how excess became boring in the 80s. That once you can have anything you lose interest in it. He said he was well aware that the band were barely living off past successes in a genre that was seen as uncool, pre-Steel Panther revival at this time. Friend's mom said she can't see him as the hyper-cool sexy frontman anymore. That she knows him as a human being and his dreams and fears and experiences. She also says every now and then she wonders if he was like that with every girl. Or just her. My friend's restaurant gets celebrities and athletes and such often, and Bieber has been known to come in a few times. One of the hostess girls went back to his hotel with him and said she was very disappointed. Girl, we need details. My wife's grandma was a groupie for a traveling Sioux band. She won't tell us anything about the guy, but he got her pregnant, and that is how my father-in-law was conceived. Firstly, I've never been a groupie nor done it with celebrities, but I did security work for some concerts a while back. One I remember fondly was when me and a couple other security guys were guarding CeeLo Green's bus. So while there we see him go in with a bunch of groupies in some revealing clothing. So the other guys start pointing that out, making crude jokes about CeeLo getting some action. 5 minutes later the gals come out of the bus with puppies. No joke. They literally came out with puppies and went back to the venue. A friend of a friend who was obsessed with Tim Burton. So she sent him a picture of herself naked, along with her address. An arrangement was made. Burton showed up, calling himself her dream lover and saying that none of this was really happening. They had sex, and he kept up the charade of not really being there all the way until he left. Her obsession was cured. It was not me, but within my sphere a girl hooked up with John Mayer like 10 years ago and he pissed on her afterwards. The girl I lost my virginity to ducked the lead singer of LMFAO for some coke. She said she just wanted some coke. A chick I dated in high school later dated the drummer from Offspring. Here's the good part. She didn't even know who Offspring was. My ex-girlfriend's friend slept with Yandel, Puerto Rican singer, right after a local performance. Ex said right after the show he just pointed to her friend to come inside the bus from where they were standing. And she walked right in without even thinking twice. Ex waited for about 15 to 20 minutes before she came out, smiling from ear to ear, detailing how it went. Weird. But at least she wasn't underaged. So there's that. I know a gal who claimed to have had sex with Stevie Ray Vaughan. Afterwards she was kinda disappointed that he wasn't grateful cause he was so homely that he should have appreciated a pretty girl's attentions. My sister's friend ducked Steve Aoki in college. She said she remembers his long hair tickling her chest while he was on top of her LMAO. A friend of mine blew ludicrous. Her and 3 others saw him on the street and hollered at him. They went back to his hotel and he and my friend went into the bedroom and they performed oral on each other. While they waited in the other room for them to finish. My other friend stole their weed. Not a band. But an old co-worker of mine did it with Shel Silverstein. She used to work as a bank teller and he used to come in to deposit his royalty checks. Then walk home with his guitar slung over his back. One day after work she saw him walking in the rain, so she gave him a ride back to his houseboat. Whereupon one thing led to another. She said the sex was terrible and he let out this high-keening yell at the end. Which really embarrassed her because she knew the neighbors could hear him. Not much of story. But it's like the closest thing to me actually meeting a celebrity. Oh. And I saw Bob Dole in an airport once. Was a total groupie who hung around after shows and at parties and things. Did not have sex with a band member. Though. And just seeing these people who I admired so much have sex with mostly underage girls made me lose a ton of respect for them. I think even as a young teen I understood that what they were doing was kind of pathetic and they were really taking advantage of their admirers. They felt like completely different people from the ones I had built up in my head. At the end of the day, they are just normal people who escalated to fame rather quickly, but still. I think it crosses a serious line when you just duck whoever. No matter the age. I'm a female in a rock band. We're not huge. But we have a decent fan base throughout the country. We play shows with bands I admire consistently. As a rule of thumb, I don't hook up with guys in bands for professional purposes, and because unfortunately a lot are usually kind of scummy or cheaters. One night I was at a music festival. As a fan. And the members of a well-known modern rock band were partying with the fans in the campgrounds after the show. The guitar player took an interest in me and spent all night trying to talk to me. After I told him about my band, he was persistently following me, threatening to fight my male friends, and trying to get me to hang out on their tour bus with him. I was highly intoxicated and against my better judgment, went back to the bus with him. Next morning they had left and I did some research. Turns out he had a wife and kids at home. This sadly is such a common scenario I witness all the time when we're out on tour, even the good guys people. I love being a female in the rock industry. But there's slim pickings out here for dateable musicians. I just want to give a shout out to Dave Navarro. Why? Because I had a friend who had cancer and she got her make-a-wish granted to meet him. He befriended her and made her feel like the cool chick she was. Then she died. But Dave at least made the end of her life less bad. Not a sex story. Not a groupie story. More a story that a girl I knew met her idol and he turned out to be a great person. I have never had sex with a celebrity, but my dad's cousin, my second cousin, was apparently impregnated by Charles Manson. Meaning my second cousin once removed his Charles Manson's son. I'm excited to share this in another thread someday where it won't get buried. Girl on my dorm floor uni got herpes from Steve Aoki. I now think that Steve Aoki has herpes and I didn't before. Matt Heffy from Trivium shook my hand for like 2 minutes straight while thanking me for my military service. Then noticed I had his band's logo tattooed on my chest. And pulled my tank top to the side to see it better. He saw my nipple. I'm a guy. I still think about it. Went to college. With a lady that drunkenly slept with Gilbert Gottfried back in '91. During spring break. My mate's girlfriend had sex with Justin Bieber while he was on tour in New Zealand. Justin's minders confiscated her phone before anything went down. My friend then broke up with her. My sister screwed Tim Lambesis up as I lay dying maybe about 8 years ago when they came to Australia. I think he ended up really liking her and would send her messages on Facebook all the time. A little while later a friend sent us an article that he was getting thrown in jail for attempted murder of his wife. Yes, he was married with kids when they boned, and yes, he is supposedly a devout Christian. She felt partially responsible for a little while, but I think he probably slept with girls everywhere he went.